Hi, I'm John, and I'm back again with another episode of N-Scale Friday. We're doing something a little bit different this time. I have this product from my friend Alvin Ho, who has Wutter vehicles and details, and I'm going to bring him up on a Zoom call and talk about what this is. So let's go to Zoom call and take a look. Okay, so I have Alvin dialed up on a Zoom call, and this is what we're talking about. It's the WVD Next18 Adapter. So Alvin, you want to tell people a little bit about what this thing is and why you developed it?
Yeah, so this Next 18 adapter makes it easy to drop in install sound into a bunch of different Kato locomotives. So it fits into F units, F40PH and P42s.
Okay.
It also allows you to use all of the functions that are available on the Next 8 or on the LokSound decoder without doing a lot of I guess internal wiring that's takes up a lot of space in N scale.
Right. That's always a challenge.
So today I'm going to show you how to put it into this Kato F unit. I'm going to go through it step by step. So here we have an F7 chassis, and I've removed one of the pickup strips to wrap them in Kapton tape. If you see the pickup strip here, make sure the Kapton tape goes all the way around the pickup strip, and this isolates the motor tabs from the pickups on the rails.
Oh, that's to prevent shorts so you don't blow up your decoder?
Correct.
Okay.
So the next step is I'm going to reinsert this pickup strip back into the chassis and then put the board on. It's a little hard because I can't see the other side where I'm pulling on it.
Do you want to take it out of
No,
the camera?
I think I got it in. We're good.
Okay.
It's just going to look like I don't have hand-eye coordination.
Well, we know that's not true because you work on this N-scale stuff all the time.
So now I've put the pickup strips back into the chassis, and the next step is to insert the WVD adapter board in. You'll notice that there's a rectangular hole here, and this goes where this plastic clip is. So make sure that is fully seated before soldering down the motor tabs.
I remember this from when I did installs of decoders into some P42s that I have. This works on P42s too, doesn't it?
Right. This is the same board format for a P42. And there's actually enough headroom for the decoder as well in a P42.
Okay.
So you'll see that the clip is now fully seated against the board.
Right.
So the next step we'll do is to solder the motor tabs down onto the board.
Pretty straightforward stuff.
This is always a good step to do no matter what decoder you're using, because the original plastic clip that it comes with isn't really good for holding down the tabs. So yeah, this just ensures that you have good connection no matter what.
I learned that the hard way when I did my installs originally, because I didn't know about the soldering the motor tabs down trick. Mm-hmm. And what it does, here's a pro tip for people who maybe are new to this. What it will do is your lights will turn on and your sound might come on, but it won't move because it's not getting enough juice to the motor.
Right. So yeah, soldering the tabs is definitely a must do in all of these installs.
Yeah.
So the next step is I'm going to take some Kapton tape and put it over the motor tabs. This is highly recommended just to prevent any shorts between the decoder and the adapter board. Some of the decoders that you may use may have heat shrink on them, where this won't really be necessary, but I usually just recommend putting a piece of Kapton tape over here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Otherwise, your decoder could end up getting the track power. You don't want that to happen.
It's better to be a piece of Kapton tape is cheap insurance for ensuring that your decoder is happy.
Yeah.
So the next step is I will take the original DC light board,
Okay.
and I'm going to cut off the LED and solder it onto the tabs here. So
Okay.
you'll see that the markings here have U plus and F0F. So U plus is the same as the blue wire normally on the rest of the decoder. So all the pads marked with U plus are the same. And F0F is the forward function that will be mapped to the decoder.
Something else to mention here is the LED's polarity sensitive. So you want to make sure you're putting the positive lead on the LED onto the U plus, right?
Right. If you look closely at the LED, you can tell the anode and the cathode separately. I think you can see it right there.
Yeah, you can see it
So
on the left is the big triangle I was talking about.
Right. So the big side is the cathode and the small side is the anode. So
and the cathode is the negative side, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. So the big triangle part goes to the negative side and the little part goes to the positive side. That matters to me because I don't remember anode and cathode. I just remember big and little. You know, DCC installations for kindergartners. There you go. Looking good.
Okay, so I will put the cover back over that.
Oh, this prevents light leaks through the
this
roof.
prevents the light leaks through the cab.
Yeah.
And then one more step, which is to add the speaker actually. So this is a 8x12. This is not included with the WVD adapter, but the reason why is because this actually just opens up a lot of choice for what type of speaker you want to put in. This is actually the largest speaker that will fit in without any milling. So you can easily put it on this rear shelf here and not mill anything and be able to get good sound out of it.
And something else to mention is that that speaker is inserted into an enclosure, and that's why you're able to put it on the contact strips directly, because there's no chance for plastic to short out your your track
there's
power.
And the contacts for the speaker are on the top here.
Right.
So
important to notice that, because a lot of times someone who's new to this might think they can just put the speaker directly down, and a lot of speakers have metal frames. Or they might make the mistake of putting the speaker where it's facing upward, which would put the contacts on the bottom, which also can create a short. So make sure that the plastic is on your contact strips and the enclosure is facing downward, right?
Yeah. And the thing is with these small cell phone sugar cube type speakers, it's like really important to have a sealed enclosure to get good sound out of it. Sometimes I see installs that use a cell phone type speaker, but there's no proper enclosure for it. And it's never going to get very good sound because there's no enclosed volume.
Right.
Even though this volume enclosed here is very small, it makes a huge difference.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So the next step is I'm going to solder the two speaker leads onto the speaker A and B tabs.
Okay.
So you can see the tabs right here.
Yep.
And I'm going to do this.
That's flux you're putting on?
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty precise.
So they're soldered on. And then the last step is I'm actually just going to plug in the decoder to the Next18 connector. So make sure when you plug in the decoder, it sits all the way flush with the connector, it won't make good contact if you don't push it all the way in. And you'll feel like a little snap when it goes in.
Right. Also, while you're holding it like that, Alvin, can you turn it again? I want to point out, see where the Kapton tape is protecting the possible contact there? That's what that was about. You can see it on the camera. So very good.
So yeah, now we're done. I usually just add another piece of Kapton tape to secure the decoder in to make sure that it doesn't accidentally get disconnected or anything.
Right.
When you put the shell back on.
Yeah, that could happen, especially if it doesn't fit right over that top part. Or I should say the front part.
So yeah, I usually do that over the connector area to just secure it down.
Right.
All right, so here I have my shell for the F7, and we're actually going to need to do a slight modification to make sure that it fits fine. If you look inside the shell, there's these little tabs here, these little plastic nubs. They don't really serve a functional purpose, but they hit the decoder if you don't take these off. So it's included in the instruction manual to take these off if you're putting it into an F unit.
Okay. And
so this is the same for F2, F3, F7. They all have these little nubs on the inside.
Do you cut those off or do they snap out of there?
I cut them off. So I take a small chisel and I chisel them out. Right. I mean, it would work with any like chisel blade that you have as well. So like,
yeah, I know X-Acto makes a blade for stuff like this. Yeah, that works. That looks like it's just a screwdriver.
No, this is a chisel. It's a purpose made, like it's a 3mm chisel.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you try to do that with a screwdriver, it definitely won't work because it'll be too dull.
Right. So you'll see I scraped that tab off.
Yep.
And then I'm going to scrape this one.
It's hard to see on the camera, but I can see why you're having to look at it yourself.
All right. So there we go.
Looking pretty clean.
And I'm going to put this back on.
Hey, before you put it back on, let's talk about these other functions, because what you're doing here, and by putting that back on, we're kind of skipping over all the different outputs that you have on this board. And I think those are worth talking about.
Sure. Yeah.
So you have all kinds of contacts for separate lighting effects and so on. Why don't you talk about those for a second? And maybe if you could include this with your talk about that, talking about whether people need to use resistors or not.
So basically over here, you have aux 1, 2, 3, 4. You have your forward headlight. You have your rear headlight.
Right.
The pads for functions 5, 6, and 7 are a little bit strange, but they're marked in the decoder manual, but I will talk to them as well. So basically for aux 5, you have to use the anode pad, the plus pad for 5 and 6 here, which are marked on the board. The cathode pads for 5 and 6 are actually on the backside of the decoder.
So underneath it. Okay.
Yeah. aux 5, 6, and 7, you'll have to solder to these pads for the cathode side of your LED or the logic for aux 7. Okay. So all of this is marked in the manual. So it shows which pad is what.
I realize this is a little bit more advanced, but I think it's worth mentioning because the board does a lot of stuff that if you were to put the shell on now and say, okay, that's it, we would miss these things.
Right. And also, I guess to note, when you asked a question about if you need additional resistors are included with every function that's on here. So you'll see that there's these resistors here for aux like 1 through 4. There's this I actually don't remember exactly which resistors map to what, but every single function that is on here has a 1K resistor on it already.
What we're looking at is something that all you need to do is make the contacts for every light that you want to use, or every light function that you want to use, directly to your board, and also in some cases to the decoder as well. And I mean, that way you don't have a bunch of stuff cluttering up inside there like a bunch of resistors, which that alone makes this worthwhile to me, because resistors inside N-scale models is very difficult to deal with.
Yeah. So this saves a lot of space, because you have all these surface mount resistors just take care of it for you.
Yeah, that's great.
So I guess the next step, I will just put the shell back on.
Yep.
You see, this fits, right in.
Yep.
So there's two things I actually forgot to mention earlier when I was installing it. The tabs shown that I chiseled off, to fit a larger speaker, it's recommended that like all 4 tabs are taken off to make sure that it fits.
Okay.
So one more thing I forgot to mention is that on the adapter board, there's actually provisions for a keep alive. If you wanted to use that, you can attach the charge wire to the U+ line and the discharge to the ground. It's explained in the decoder manual how to do that.
Okay, cool. Where can people buy these things?
So these are available in a bunch of different brick and mortar like hobby shops, as well as ones that are online. So a few of the ones that we have currently are Boston and Albany Hobbies, Iron Planet Hobbies, Midwest Model Railroad, Tony's Trains, Yankee Dabbler, and SBS for DCC. If none of these options are available to you, they're also available on eBay as well. But the pricing at these dealers is much better than it is on eBay.
Yeah, I think I saw these on eBay for going, I think around $25 or something, $30. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, and the reason for that is mainly because on eBay, there's fees, and like I need to ship each order separately. It's much easier to do the orders through a dealer.
So what's the price in the store? Closer to $20 or what?
Oh, it's cheaper than that. It's $17.95 for each of these adapters.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, thank you very much, Alvin, for taking the time to share this with us. Like I said, I think it's an overdue thing. And I think it's a very, I know when you told me about it, I was really excited about it, because I have these projects that I've been putting off, mostly because I didn't want to have to deal with all that, resistor and wire mess under the model shell. And this is going to clean all that up significantly. So good job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me the chance to show off the new products.
All right. So as you can see, this is a really cool product. And as I mentioned to Alvin, I think it's a long overdue product as well. It makes fitting everything into your N-scale models a lot easier. And just for your information, this works on F units, F40s, and P42 style Genesis units as well. It does not work with the E units. So look it up online, Wutter Vehicles and Details, WUTTER, Vehicles and Details. And it's called the Next18 Adapter board. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.